Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast with your hosts Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Divert your phone and grab a brew as Waz and Nick unpack tips, tales, secrets and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside your trade, helping educate and inspire you to break the cycle of gut-busting and money stress and create a true trade business.
G'day, Coxie.
Hello, Warwick.
How are you going today?
I'm a bit, I don't know, over it.
What are you over, Coxie?
Oh, I think the whole lot in general. Take
Everything?
your pick.
It's a long list, hey?
It is a long list today.
G'day, listeners.
Hello.
Tradies in Business podcast, the daily TradieRonaCast.
I won't be
It's
cranky the
been-
whole podcast, I promise.
It's been a bit of a bouncy ride this week with our daily episodes, hasn't it?
Hey, it's a bit weird, but isn't this the truth? Now you're getting all of us, not just the glossy bits that we save for a Tuesday or occasionally the cranky bits we give out on a Friday. Now you get the whole roller coaster.
It's a lot less polished, maybe.
Definitely.
And perhaps a little more, the curtains are pulled back on the studio windows.
Most definitely. It's
And
real.
I was just saying to you that I felt fantastic this morning. I woke up early and the sun was coming up, and had some great sessions with our clients this morning, and I was looking forward to our podcasting slot today, and then something happened, and all that went away. I was like, oh man, what are we going to talk about, Coxie?
Could it be the 20 voxes or the 20 disparaging voxes that I sent you earlier today? Maybe that was enough to bring you down back to my level. How dare you be happy when I feel like shit?
Yeah, you're like, what are you doing being all positive, you bastard? But no,
dear.
I think the reality is that's what a lot of us are going through at the moment, is from one minute to the next. It can change, and we don't always know why our mood or our attitude changes. I mean, maybe we're drinking too much coffee or not enough coffee. Maybe it was something your partner said, or the kids giving you the irrits, or I think there's just so many things going on that it's probably impossible to put a finger on what's sort of driving our moods at the moment.
Probably just a combination of everything. I could pick all of those on my list today.
It's just all the things.
It's all the things. It's just life right now is not fun.
And you know what? And this is unscripted, unplanned, as per
usual.
normal. Yeah, as per normal. But I had a really cool conversation with one of our tradiepreneur clients just this morning about kind of that thing, actually, of so many things. There's just all these things, and all these things going on in the business and with personal life, and we were chatting about health in particular. And I've had a couple of conversations with people about health, whether it's diet or exercise or whatever, this week, which has been interesting. So keep an eye out for Waz in very tight shorts leading some exercise sessions on Zoom for our tradies in business.
I do not consent to that at all.
Tight shorts and a crop top. But I was talking to him about just some of the fundamentals of how to stay healthy, and he was sort of wondering about exercises, and because he knows a bit about my background as a CrossFit coach in the past, and I'm pretty passionate about health and well-being. And I said, you know what, mate, just keep it simple. Like, go back to basics. Just lift weights a few times a week in your home gym, or do some body weight stuff, and just eat meat and veg and fresh foods. Stay away from anything in a packet. And I said, just like simplify it. And I said, you know what? That probably applies to business and life at the moment as well. There is so much going on. There's so much noise out there. There's so much for us to be stressed about and worried about and think we need to know about, that I think a lot of us could actually do well from just simplifying the crap out of our lives at the moment.
Goes back to a conversation we had this morning, really, doesn't it? Where we were talking about, it's a constant, I guess, struggle for us to find the right ways to connect with our potential members.
Yeah.
We want more than anything to is help as many tradies as we possibly can. So much so we're offering it for free at the moment. And still we're finding there's a struggle to get people to put their hand up and say, yep, okay, I'm going to give that a crack. And the overwhelming comments are, when asked, I've got too much to do. I feel overwhelmed. I'm so busy homeschooling the kids, or I'm so busy trying to balance business and family life that I just can't possibly think of another thing to do. And yet what we're trying to do is simplify what they're doing in their business. We're trying to give them all of the tools so that they don't have to be quite so overwhelmed, so they can find that focus in a day-to-day basis. And yet so many still aren't prepared to put their hand up and say, yeah, but I need that. I want that help. I want that clarity. I want that direction.
Yeah, I had some interesting conversations and a bit of a realization with you this morning, which I think is why I was a little bit amped up, because I felt like I saw clearly what is creating some of our problems in the world with our health, with our food system, with the environment, with our families, certainly with our bloody financial models and our economics in the world at the moment. We can see the fragility of all of that borne out by COVID. And there's this thing about humans that we think to make things better, we've got to add stuff. To make a meal better, we've got to add more ingredients, more spices, more flavors. To improve our kids' life, we've got to add things, more activities, more education, more tutoring. And it's the same with our agriculture. We're adding stuff to the soil in the form of fertilizers and poisons, and we're very additive in our approach to improving things. And there's a number of movements, I suppose you'd call them. And look, I'm part of some of that in the nutritional space, where my wife and I have taken away a whole bunch of stuff in the last couple of years. We eat a lot less foods and a lot less food overall than we used to, and we're actually finding it's really good. We've removed a lot of media and social media in our personal lives, at least. I mean, still very much a part of what you and I do here, and the way we share our messages. But there's movements like that in agriculture, with regenerative agriculture, where they're taking away rather than adding. And I think this whole COVID thing is forcing a lot of people to remove stuff from their life. We've taken away cinemas, we've taken away bowling alleys, we've taken away massive functions and concerts, and I don't know what else, sporting events. And so all these things have been taken away, and I'm actually seeing a lot of people start to realize that that's possibly a good thing.
Of course it's a good thing.
Because, we've only got so much capacity as people, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I think a lot of us have become overloaded. And when we look at our businesses, and I'd love our listeners to give us some feedback on this. I actually think people misunderstand what you and I do.
I've got no doubt.
And I know you and I felt fairly exasperated in the last few months, few weeks, few years maybe, when we have something like the trade desk that our members, our subscribers rave about it. We get messages almost every day about how awesome it is and how it's changed their life and how they wish they'd found it 5 years ago. And the insiders know that, or what the trade desk and the drawing board and all the stuff we do can actually do for them. And I think there might be a misconception, and that's our fault for not communicating it more clearly. But the insight I had this morning, and I'll get to the point, was that the trade desk is about taking away, right? We're all about taking away all the fluff and the shit and the extra stuff that you think you need to do, so that you've got less to do. You've got less to focus on, less to think about. Now, it seems like, we're coming in there and saying, oh, you've got to watch all these videos and you've got to do all this homework and you've got to fill out all these templates. And in fact, I actually feel like what our members are doing is they're learning to do less. They're learning to run their business with less tools, less templates, less meetings, less stress, less time, less expenses. And so a lot of what we're offering is how to live with less, how to live on less, how to run your business with less. So I've had some fantastic conversations with people this week who are doing exactly that. They're driving less. They're quoting less. They're dealing with less bullshit from customers. They're spending less time on their books and everything because they've set it up the right way. And they've actually, putting the right things in place so they're not wasting time on shit that doesn't work.
I think that's the whole point. And what you're talking to there is the overwhelm of stuff and not knowing where to go to find the right things, tools to put in place to make life simpler. And I feel like for so many people that we're talking to that aren't involved yet, they just look at this list of stuff and think, oh my God, that's so much work to do. But in actual fact, it's the stuff you're trying to do or you're thinking about doing or you're overwhelmed because you're not completing currently that's going to make your life so, so much easier. Now, none of these things are hard to implement. Most of the videos that we share are 3 to 5 minutes, really quick, really easy to implement. And then we give you the tools to do it. Take it away, rebrand it, put it in your own business. Couldn't be simpler than that. But because we're in this state of overwhelm, where we're too busy taking notice of what's going on social media, or we're too busy being frightened about an outcome that we can't possibly predict, or we're too busy trying to manage our own expectations between parenting our kids that are now at home rather than at school and running a business. Because we're too busy with all that stuff, we're not looking to what it is that we actually need to do to help prevent us from failing, to help stop us from falling off the edge of the cliff, or to help stop us from imploding within the business because there's just far too much going on and we're far, far too stressed. It's a great realization that you've had that we're taking away by allowing the opportunity to implement your sales process. That
Because the reality is, the reality is you're already doing this stuff, listeners. You're already invoicing, you're already quoting, you're already doing book work, you're already communicating with your staff about what jobs need to be done. You're already doing all the things that we teach in the trade desk. So we're not adding anything. We're actually just showing you how to do it in a way that means you can spend less time and less stress on it and get more results from it. Yeah.
That's right. It's just a big, I guess, mental shift for people, particularly when you've not experienced something like this before. It does feel like more work to do, when in actual fact, it's taking what you're currently doing, reshaping it and making it refined, quicker, easier, cheaper.
Well, and I want to call bullshit on this whole, I can't take on anything new right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that to me is, and I'm not necessarily having a go at you, listener, if you've said or thought that about anything in your life. It's like, oh my gosh, I just can't take on another new thing. Whether that's a new exercise program or a new thing for the business or another homeschooling thing I've got to do. I think that's coming from, we've been educated by the system, by society, by capitalism, that we've got to add stuff, and that if we want to get better, if we want to, educate our kids properly, we've got to do more. We've got to grow our business. We've got to grow our family. We've got to grow our bank account. We've got to do more planning around our holidays. We've got to do more personal growth. It's even called growth, personal growth. And I've started replacing the word growth with development. Or improvement, because you can improve something without adding, without growing it.
Mm.
And I think me calling bullshit on that is calling bullshit on the system and the way we've all been duped and fooled into thinking that we have to be adding to be improving it. Whereas as I've said, and as you and I have seen so many times, Coxie, our clients' businesses get better because we're taking things away. We're taking away busyness. We're taking away, the randomness of their week and just reorganizing it. You're still going to do the same stuff. You're just going to do it in a structured way. And holy crap, does that make a difference to people's lives?
You know, the biggest way I can see it making a difference, obviously most of our clients, if not all, the ones that we're regularly conversing with are doing quite well through this time. At this point in time, they're doing quite well. They're still employing people. They're still signing new contracts. They're still taking on new work. They're still looking at ways to pivot their business for that downturn if it ever comes for them. But not only that, they're now being more present in what we're doing. They're now showing up more frequently. So we've gone from offering one point of contact with Warwick or myself a fortnight to actually physically being in the group, hosting meetings, doing coaching calls 4 times a week, every single week. And most of our members are now showing up. So it used to be that they'd watch on playback, or it used to be that they'd come back to us at a point in time that suited them, whether it be through a message or just coming back to the group to ask their question. Nowadays, they're actually showing up because they've managed to create this space and time in their business for that development, for those learnings, for that improvement. So when they come to, coffee with Coxie on a Tuesday morning, they're showing up because they want to chat. They want to talk about where they're at and what they're doing and how it's working or not working for them. Or when it comes to our this afternoon's drinks, or usually Friday afternoon drinks, they're coming for a chat. They want to share their experiences. Let's have a laugh together. Let's connect. Let's do a bit of fun rather than constant business busyness. Or the toolbox talks on Monday mornings. The feedback from that was amazing. We only started that this week, but the feedback was phenomenal because we were able to help people get their heads right. We were able to help you remember how to focus, what to focus on, how to plan to use that focus to turn it into a direction and some actions. So these small steps that we're taking with our clients are creating these amazing results in that they're still winning at business, even in the current climate. They're growing in business in one form or another, whatever that means for them, because it's different for every business. I might not necessarily actually want to grow my business, but I want to secure it against some of the risk that we're currently seeing. So these kind of changes for our business owners are meaning that they then have the time to show up and do the rest of the learning, or the next step of learning, or the next step of engagement, or the next step of having those conversations with their peers. It's a real difference, I suppose. It's a real shift that does take some time, but what a result it brings.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, I guess this episode, we did talk about keeping these shorter, and
I know,
I've
and then we get
managed to
ranty.
completely fail at that one. Less is more, Coxie. I'm going to try that in the next episode. But it is that old thing about less is more, but I think a lot of us misunderstand that or get that all mashed up. And probably the biggest thing I want to speak to is if you're a listener and you've seen us rabbiting on about the trade desk and that it's free, because we bang on about it all the time, because we actually give a shit and we want to help tradies in their businesses thrive through this time, not just survive or, worse still, shrivel up. Although I did come up with a new term, which I'd kind of heard years ago, of thrival.
Thrival.
Which is kind of surviving and thriving all at the same time.
Yes.
But it's that less is more. You got to take stuff away to be able to do more. Because if you keep adding spices to a dish, in the end, you just can't even tell what the friggin' hell it is.
No, it's just a mud pie.
It doesn't taste like anything. Exactly. Whereas how many times have you sat down to a beautiful fresh salad picked from your own garden, or a delicious steak that didn't have anything on it other than the food that you were actually eating? We picked some blackberries from the vines growing along the fences on our property the other day, and I've never tasted blackberries like it, because I stood there and I picked them straight off the bush after getting lacerated by the thorns.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, is that what blackberries taste like?
It's so different, isn't it? We did the same. We went for a bushwalk. There is no bush in London. We went for a walk in London, And it was the same. There were all these, I think they're called brambles of blackberry.
Yes. Yep.
And they're the most delicious things I have ever tasted in my life. And it was as much about the experience as it was about the actual raw, fresh fruit. It was amazing. Just phenomenal.
And I would love to see more of you, listeners, give up the habit, the addiction to the busy narrative. I've got this and I've got that and I've got this. It's like, you know what? So does everybody else. So do the people who actually work on their business. But that doesn't mean that you're adding all this stuff. Working on your business means being smarter about how you spend your time and on what. And it's on learning to take away rather than add all the time. And
So if you just
getting
give
out
me-
of that nasty habit.
Did you just give me permission to have takeaway for dinner? Because it's takeaway.
Oh my gosh. That
Come
was that was worse than my worst dad joke, I reckon.
I don't think so.
I listened back to one of our episodes from ages ago where you were telling jokes about bears and I was literally groaning out loud.
Oh man, they were amazing jokes.
I still wished I'd told mine about the bear and the rabbit, but anyway.
Yeah, no.
Anywho, so here's my challenge to you, listener. What can you take away? What can you leave out? What can you delete, remove, reduce in order to actually have more of something else? More time, more freedom, more peace of mind, more profit, more efficiency.
That's a good list of more.
opportunities. Yeah. Give it a go. Tell us what you think.
Please send us some feedback. Come find us in the group. Come and find us in the big free group where you get plenty of us hanging around because apparently we've got nothing better to do. And we're very
we've
busy.
taken so much away. We just
We have
got nothing to do.
No, we're very busy in the group, helping you be less busy. So come and visit us there. We'll post a link. You can tell us what you think. Please give us some feedback. We
That's
love
a beautiful
feedback.
rhyme, Coxie.
Thank
We'll
you.
post a link. Tell us what you think.
Please do. Roses are red, violets are blue.
And if you don't, then you stink.
Warwick is smelly and so are you. There you go.
And with that, we're going to talk to you again tomorrow. Good Friday tomorrow. And we're still coming at you. That's how dedicated we are to the cause, Coxie.
We are. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Tradies in Business podcast with Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.